Am I going to get a YouTube ad right away? So it's actually,
this is a real B&H customer story. Jack and Barbara, professional wildlife photographers and B&H customers.
Nope. Dang it. What am I doing? I lost the video already. Okay. We're going to get there, I promise, guys. We're going to show some. I want to thank Pulling Texas on YouTube for going to Willcox and filming. And I want to show you guys a little bit of video talking with Greg Lussetto from the Heartland Pullers of the Outlaws, Rod Crawford. That thing is super cool. What is going on? No, that's not doing wrong. Okay. That's not doing wrong. Little Mater.
I'm glad to see this. Rod, that looked dang good.
Yeah, it's one of our local pullers here with a 613 naturally aspirated Chevrolet big block in his Mini. Another one of our locals with a brand new tractor. This is second pass with it tonight.
That's Robbie Fagunda's new one, right?
Yeah, well,
that's actually James Phillips.
New one. You'll see Robbie's here in just a second.
Okay.
Robbie built that one for James, and that was James's second pass. This is Robbie's second pass.
So I know the back history on this one because Doug, who works for me, is really good friends with Robbie, and something with too tall a rear end or something in that, and it did something from Europe or something. So
yeah, he bought a brand new transmission, and the gearing was way too high in it.
Yep.
And he couldn't get new gears or the right gears in time, but he brought it and ran it anyway.
No, that's great.
I'm sure by the time he brings it back east, it'll be running a lot better.
Yeah, the Pullers Championship is May 19th and 20th, so we're a month out on that, and both of his tractors are there.
I think this is the one Dwayne took the ride on, wasn't it, Greg?
I believe so. He's got some very problems
Yeah, he danced with the devil there, guys. So
yeah, I think he was showing off for the crowd. He came right back around and laid down a good pass the second time. This is a young lady from Safford here driving this. She just bought this tractor at this pull, and she's learning this small block economod. Mystic Brasher. He's
nice.
Been pulling with for a while.
Nice. Well, good deal. We'll let that play a little bit, and we'll just talk. I'll stop the screen for a second. Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night, April 19th. Greg and I are going to start doing a weekly show focused on the Heartland division of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pullers. And then Rod Crawford's with us tonight. He is the president of the Western State Pullers. They had their pull out in Willcox, Arizona last Thursday and Friday. Greg took the sled out there as well, and I think some of the pullers from Heartland came down to support that. And we had Rod on our West Coast show 2 weeks ago with John and the boys, Chris and Gish and everybody, for both pulling out there. And you know, when we think of Arizona, Rod, it isn't something we think of as a pulling hub, and you're trying to make something happen. And before we got on the show a little bit, you guys had mentioned, you know, some guys came down from Colorado and had a really good time. So,
yeah, basically Arizona's kind of been the black hole for pulling in the western half of the United States because there's not a lot of agriculture down here, and so not a lot of pulling equipment. So we're having to reach out quite a distance, California up into the Midwest, over into Texas to bring in equipment, pullers. But I can honestly say that the response from the pullers has been fantastic. We've got guys that are traveling 1,500, 2,000 miles to come pull with us. So
that's great. That's great. Did Randy have anybody from NHRDA come over to your event?
Yeah, we had one 3.0 diesel pickup out of Odessa, Texas.
Okay.
Really nice running truck, good looking truck. The owner had just purchased it here this spring or this winter, and he made his third and fourth passes with us, didn't he, Greg?
Yes, because he'd actually been at that Hammond, Louisiana pull.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a mid-south pull, I think, Lussetto.
Yes, was this
like. Yep.
Yep.
So that's a good deal. That was a couple weeks ago as well. So what's how long have you guys known each other? What's the history there? I mean,
let's just say a long time.
Let's just leave it at a long time, right, Greg?
Yeah.
You guys act like you like each other, so that's
well,
good.
Most of the time, I've known him back when I had hair. If that helps.
Well, take your hat off, Lussetto. Okay. Yep. That's been a couple days.
Rod actually originated not too far from where I live, and we worked together back when I was running an antique sled back in the 90s.
Okay. And the sled that we saw in the videos, and again, thanks to what's the young kid's name who does Pulling with Texas, his YouTube, Chad?
I don't.
I think so.
I don't know him. I didn't actually get to meet him.
Well, we used his video there at the beginning of the show, so I want to thank him, give him a shout out for that as well. So,
yes.
Yeah, it's Pulling Texas is in Willcox, Arizona. So he shared some stuff on there. So, yep, good deal.
Yes, and kind of to add to this, Rod purchased the Fagunda sled out of California for the minis.
Yep, I knew that.
So we've been kind of working. We're kind of scheming a little bit that we're actually going to try to get that sled up to Nebraska here through the summer because I mean things kind of shut down there in Arizona when it gets pretty hot.
Yep,
and there might be a chance to get we'd really like to get some of the old naturally aspirated minis back out there in the area and see if we can't maybe get something cooking again.
Yeah, and that's actually, I need to go through the comments. There was a bunch of comments when we were playing the video. I wanted to put them up on the screen. And I know Western Series is bringing in the small blocks. I'm really good friends with Kevin Moore, and he's got that little diesel mini rod, and they're going to kind of run them together with Jaspers and Budsons are coming out of Illinois. And I know the Econo mods, there should be a bunch of them out by you, I would guess. So.
I had not heard about that.
Okay, but I would think there would be some, like you said, if the naturally aspirated guys could come pull. I call them Econo mods. That's what I'm used to hearing here in the Midwest, but I don't know if that's what you call them out in your neck of the woods, out west, as I like to say. So
yeah, there was quite a group of those in central Nebraska and eastern Nebraska, and that it's kind of fallen off a little bit, but I think we could fill a niche for some of the promoters with that there, maybe even in our Heartland division.
And Rod, your sled, that was up here for a couple summers with the Outlaws when they were running the big minis. So
yeah, Robbie had it up there for a while, and I guess I would say that our focus from Greg and my standpoint is probably a little different than it was back then with that sled, but because Robbie's been into the blown stuff for so many years that I think he kind of patterned his operation around the blowns more or less than the natural or the injected or naturally aspirated.
Yep.
So Greg and I are kind of wanting to, I guess, apply a little of the economy idea and maybe give the guys a chance to pull some of those older injected, naturally aspirated minis out of the barns and come back out on the circuit. And not necessarily have to compete against the Grand National stuff all the time.
So I interviewed Ken Venny a couple weeks ago. We had him on Let's Grow Pulling on a Monday night, and he said, what good to do to keep making all this horsepower? All they do is make the sled harder to pull. And that when Ken Venny says something like that, I was like, you know what? You're right. We all keep wanting more and more and more. Men are, by nature, men are stupid, and I'm not picking on the women that pull as well, but we just always want more. We're never satisfied. You know what I mean? Like in my class, the 401 class, it's all about tires now, guys. It's tires is everything. Yep. If you don't have a set of this or set of these parts, or it's crazy the amount of money we spend just on a set of tires to win the same amount of money. And there was I'm not picking on any pulling association, but somebody dug up some purses, money winnings from the 70s and 80s from the NTPA, and it's lighting up a whole. They sent me the same information, and I'm going to use that as a spin-off of those of you that are against full pull bets or don't think it's going to be good for pulling. We're spending 10 times easily the amount of money to go pulling for the same amount of money as we were 30 or 40 years ago, and that's what really needs.
Jason, I've got a flyer from Garden City, Kansas. Had a big NTPA pull back in the day, and they had like a $40,000 purse in 1978. You do not want to do the math on that in today's numbers.
No, and if we can bring some of the, and I don't know, I did interview Schreier about a month ago as well. We had him on the show. I went to his house, and he talked about Wrangler and Redman and some of those sponsors like that back then. And I think even the cigarette companies, one of the big tobacco brands was big into pulling right before. I think they killed it with NASCAR or whatever. That legislation came through Congress and shut it all down. But I'm excited. How far, Rod? How far is it? How many miles is it from your house to Lussetto's house?
About what I'm saying. It's right at 1,000, I think, isn't it, Greg?
975 miles to be exact.
Okay,
so
it's a pretty good run. It's a pretty good run. Rod, how many pulls? Like when you say Western States pullers, how many pulls do you guys have a year on your own that are Western State?
We're at. When we first started a year and a half ago, we were trying to generate quite a few pulls, and we figured out that maybe we were overstepping ourselves a little bit. This year, as far as Western States right now, we had the pull here last week, a 2-day pull. We're looking at a pull in either October or November. We're kind of trying to work with the Midwest guys and harvest so that we can not find either just before harvest or maybe toward the end of harvest where the guys can get away and come down. So we're balancing those. What we're really long range shooting for is a winter circuit, Jason, where we start down here March, April, or end up in March and in April and start in very late September, October, and pull through the winter. And hopefully with some more venues opening up down here, we can do maybe 4 or 5 good sized shows. And it worked out pretty good working with Randy at NHRDA this time. We juggled our show a little bit so that the guys could go up there on Saturday, and that's a possibility in the future, not only with them, but whoever else, the bigger pulling groups that want to come down in this area, we'd be more than willing to work with them and try to not create some scheduling conflicts if at all possible.
Right. So now, Greg, just like you guys do some of your guys live closer to Rod, or is it a pretty good run for all of your guys to go down and pull with Rod?
It's a long ways for all of us, honestly.
Okay.
They do have some local pullers down there too. So, but most of our guys, like I said, there was the one guy from the Greeley area, he was honestly just right outside of Windsor, Colorado, where we went, so, but that's you're only talking 150 miles closer. So still a good 600 miles. There is some guys. There is a 2-wheel drive guy in northern New Mexico that usually comes that couldn't get off of work this time. So it is sparse down there at the moment for pullers.
Yeah, Jason, we've for these pulls, we're drawn from as far away as in Missouri, Kansas City. Dennis Weber brought his mini out from I think it's Grandview, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City. Dwayne Pfister came down from Long Pine, Nebraska, which is in the northeast corner.
It's 200 miles from me.
Clarence Correa and Robbie came out of California. You know, this is why we have a kind of a uphill battle down here to put on shows as what you're looking at the video here, and what thank goodness Greg is working with us, and so many of the Heartland pullers are working with us. The guys out of Wyoming and stuff, they're just super people, and they're really going out of their way to help us out.
That's what's good. Rod, what is your history like? Because you have an uphill battle. And again, we're not making fun of it. It's just not a lot of pullers in your area. What makes you want to do this and, I guess, fight the good fight for us truck and tractor pullers?
Well, you can blame Greg's dad.
Okay.
And Greg. I probably got 40 years involvement in pulling, and started out with the antiques in Nebraska and with Greg, and did some work with the National Antique Tractor Pullers Association for a while. And I really love the sport of pulling. And I guess I've been kind of hooked to the sleds for so long that I'm kind of partial to sitting in the sled, because I get to go ever past, not just once a night. So.
You know what? I like to hear that. I like to hear that a lot. Greg, is that your sled there, the red one?
Yes, that is our sled there. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So let's check on comments. So again, Pulling Texas, this is his video from YouTube. I got the volume turned down just so we can keep talking. Dwayne Pfister's checking in. This is his tractor right here, right, guys?
Yeah, that's his 1086 or 1486 or 66, whatever it is. Dwayne can tell you, but that's his international, and then he runs another cock shut in a small block class, economy class.
Daniel Christensen's checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh,
okay, Buddy Hall. This was in Willcox, Arizona, last Thursday and Friday.
And that's about what 70 to 80 miles east of Tucson, Arizona, right on Interstate 10.
Okay. Carly.
This is a guy from that formerly had spent a number of years in Bridgeport, Nebraska. He's currently living down here in Arizona, and he just bought this 1850 Oliver, and he brought it by, and so we throwed him in there for let him have a pass and see how it did. So
Carly Pastuca's checking in. She says, "Hey, Greg, missed being with Dennis down there this weekend. Thanks for keeping him safe."
And just to fill you in a little bit, Carly has been driving some Grand National Mini with some of our friends out of Wyoming.
Yep.
And she was down at the Willcox pull in September and October of last year, and I was really slammed because I didn't have any help, and I bought both two vehicles and the sled down there. So she actually ran my turbine one night for me.
Oh, cool.
So
now this is a cool looking hot rod.
Yeah, that is a hot rod too.
This is one of our mini guys has got also into mud racing, and so this kind of an exhibition thing with his mud bogger, and we have a lot of fun down here. We're not real rigid on what we do.
We don't turn too many people away.
We do it safely, but we try to have a good time.
Yep. Dwayne said wild ride, bent both spindles on his tractor there on his wild ride. Jason Grout says Greg should find a way to run. Go ahead, Rod.
He got a knock-kneed tractor now.
Yep.
The one thing I'll tell you, and this has been an age-old problem with the minis, is requiring the second sled.
Yes.
You know,
it is for promoters and bigger pulls too, Greg.
Well, exactly. But see, like for me in the Heartland division, you see these economods pulling right here. you ought to see those hooked to that mini rod sled. They are at home.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we're hoping to do is that we can probably pull a third of our show with the mini sled, which hopefully will appeal to some of the promoters of being worth it.
Yep.
And we could also run a second track with that if we get into that that environment or potential of doing that.
Where's Jason? Jason Grout from Colorado, right?
From Colorado, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, because I met him out in Windsor last year.
Yes.
So. Yep. Dale Bartles, one of the announcers, is checking in from Chester, South Dakota.
Yes.
Bradley Sturgeon's watching from Kentucky. Bradley, you're doing a nice job on social media with pulling, buddy. Keep it up. I like to see that. Rod, where do you post your results for the Willcox poll? Where are those anywhere, Rod?
I will should have them posted within the next couple days.
Okay. Will they be on the Facebook page?
It'll be on the Western States Pullers Facebook page.
Okay. Perfect. I'll put that link for everybody in the comments right now.
One other thing I'd like to throw out there, we get a bad rap out west, but I would like to point out the dust that is at this track.
It's not. It looks like a good track.
Yes. Can be done out here. It's just, something our people need to take a little more serious that build the tracks.
Yep. No, you're spot on. That's for a Midwest guy. When you go west or south, that's like my first time to Florida. I thought I was going to run into sand pulling tracks, and it was not like that at all.
Yeah. Well, and understand, I'll tell you what, this is something else that Rod and he's got other, Dave Mink is another guy that helps tremendously with this pull. They have literally went to great lengths to haul in some better dirt to this facility, and they have a huge rock issue there. So they were able to work with some construction companies to get some screeded dirt and stuff to get. I mean, there is a ton of work that's went into this facility, and it's capable of running 2 good tracks. I mean, if this thing can get built up, they've got a good facility and working relationship with the city. It's a city park, very similar to like Windsor setup.
Gotcha. I like to hear that. Yeah, I mean, you have 35 feet, per lane. That's really all you need. So if you wanted to move your tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're running right now. We're running about 45 on this track that you're watching pull on here.
Well, Dwayne Pfister needs more, but I think everybody else could.
Well, he sampled the whole track.
Yes, he did. I mean, he's like, well, you know how guys go out there and poke around. He knew that it was good on the left at the start and then on the right at the end. So.
This guy pulling right here is John Coons out of Greeley, Colorado.
He was in Windsor, Colorado. I got a picture of this truck.
Yes, and I tell you what's really neat, and this is what I love about our Heartland division setup, is he now is set up with a membership. He's planning on going to Ravenna and hooking the pro stock class. He's talking about going to Wisner, so it's going to be nice. Any of our guys that we get to come from out west that have not been familiar with where pulling is back east, it's great to get these guys a taste of that. And it makes them better pullers when they come back home too.
Yeah. Well, and Greg, we talked this morning, or we were texting. I have to do a better job as your social media guy for the Outlaws to let people know about Heartland and what that brings to the Outlaws, what that does for you, and then the co-sanctioning and stuff back and forth too. So
yes.
I got direct orders from Mr. Van Beek to step it up, Lussetto.
Well, I needed it.
No, I want to help you. This is what I do. This is what I do for the Outlaws. It's all good.
No, that's great.
Tammy Hunick, I recognize her name. She says she's got a mini rod for sale. I think
Yeah, they used to have, I believe, 2 mini rods, if I'm not mistaken, before they got into the naturally aspirated 2-wheel drives.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did, but I know
we can tell her to hang. If we get a pull out in eastern Nebraska, she'll have to hang a for sale sign and bring it.
Yeah. She's got is her truck Dirty Deeds?
The
2-wheeler?
I can't remember. Oh, Lord. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like a 57 or 8 International.
Yep. They either won the points or I think they won the points or they were super close. I can't remember.
He was right up there in the Outlaw. Yes.
I did see Terry Van Beek yesterday, and he's got his trucks rebuilt after the fire. So
that is, I'll tell you what, nobody will match that paint job right there, nor probably will want to.
Matt Hamada, Mike Schmiel has a mini sled and 2 minis in Schneider, Nebraska. I don't know him.
Yes.
Greg, do you know him?
Yep. Yeah, he was the guy, him and his wife, Gay, they were the ones that ran the Outlaw Hot Rod Mini Association for years.
Okay. Okay. Is that still active?
I don't believe it is right now.
Okay.
This tractor running, this was a heck of a story. They literally bought this tractor in Bedford, Iowa here, maybe like over Easter. And
yeah.
This lady is from up, I believe, somewhere around Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And that was her. Well, that right there was probably her first hook on it ever. She drove it like a champ.
I like it. These are are these 466 tractors, guys? Like
these are our 3200 Superfield is what Outlaw calls them.
Okay.
It's S300 box charger, 3200 RPM, 466 cubic inch limit.
Okay.
They run 20.8 cut tires. It's right now. It's one of our classes in Heartland that is growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Lauren Houtzen out of Minutair, Nebraska.
Yes.
Okay. So some guys did some traveling to come play with you, Rod.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And hopefully we can get some more if we can figure out how to get these guys to grow their crops on a different time of the year. This is Dave Mink. This is Dave Mink's Redneck Cadillac. 6,200 pound single engine modified, 500 cubic inch cad supercharged. He likes shiny and fancy, so.
Well, it looks good.
We built that for him in the last couple of years, 3 years.
His truck and trailer matches that tractor perfect too.
Dave's a Marine. Was a Marine in Vietnam, and his truck is all military honored theme on it. Jason, I'll try to send you a picture of it one of these first times.
That'd be neat. Kaylee Toomas checking in from Ashton, Nebraska. Mr. Fagundes is on. He says mini trucks, and I think what he means is that's another class you could have with the mini sled, right?
If we could ever get the old, what are they, like 4,300 pound small block mini trucks like they run in Kentucky?
Yep.
You throw those on that mini rod sled, and they'd be a blast.
So we have a small group in Wisconsin, Badger State Dirt Flingers, Greg.
Yeah.
And they pulled them indoors a couple weeks ago up at New Richmond. There was like a garden tractor mini rod pull, and they're little S10s. Yep. Does that sound right to you?
Yep.
So that'd be neat. I mean, guys, we do these shows like this to get some ideas. So get a hold of these people, and you're right, that would be a hoot. So.
Yeah, there's a S10 sitting in my yard here waiting for a rear end under to go in that class. So
nice.
Because, that's the other thing, Jason, what I'd love to do to get rods set up is if I'm right now planning on leaving my sled there in the winters.
Okay.
And then we can maybe put some kind of, a schedule together where we can get people to travel. But throughout the year, I'd love to have him set up to where he could pull the Economods, some minis, some of these mini trucks and some of that to where, they would have the option to pull the rest of the year without everybody. Because we need to, no matter what you do, if you're going to grow this deal, some of it has to be local. You can't just completely rely on people driving 1,000 miles.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Those are special trips like that.
This little tractor, this has got quite a history. This is actually the old Deer Fever. And
really? Yes.
That's Gary Whipp's original, well, not original tractor, but he had that thing clear up into the late 90s.
It's a runner.
And, Dan Christensen's got it going, and I'll tell you, it's going to be a tough customer in that light limited super class. He's not been messing around with that thing.
Yeah, it looks good.
Just got off a Meister's dyno shortly before making the trip.
I like that. Rod, do you have a lot of fairs? Like, excuse me for my ignorance, but I'm just from the Midwest, and it's really all I know. Just these last couple of years, I've been talking more to the California guys and the Florida guys. But do you have fairs in Arizona that, like us, the demo derbies one night and the concerts one night and the truck and tractor pulls usually 1 or 2 nights? Do you have that kind of setup out there, Rod?
Unfortunately, not so much. Our fairs down here, because so much of Arizona's history is ranching. It's rodeo, horses. 4-H is a big part of every fair down here.
Okay.
And I have been invited to some of the fairs to do some stuff at different times, and you have to be really, really careful with what you bring or when you perform, because we used to laugh at one of the bigger fairs down here where they had us pulling. If we'd have brought modified stuff, we'd have been buying a lot of rabbits and chickens and stuff in the 4-H barn.
Gotcha.
We just scared them to death. So,
Jason, I will tell you one thing that's will be a target for us. The Arizona State Fair is like a month long, and it's in October. It's
what? A month?
Yeah, it's you need to look at that schedule sometime. And it was listed as the 4th largest county fair or state fair in the country.
Okay.
So I think, to me, that's something that if we could ever team up with the Western States guys, I think we would have a chance. That could be a fair with a huge, a fairly large budget that maybe we could work with them to maybe get some, a full-blown Outlaw show down there.
And you said you said it's in October?
Yes.
Because Lufkin, last year Lufkin was on October 2021. Does that feel right, Greg?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when Lufkin is, but there would be some, if we could get something done, that to me, that'd be a great venue. And we also have somewhat of an asset. Kevin Davis is now living right there just in the Phoenix area. So he
reminds me every time we talk. I talk to him like once a week that it's 87 and sunny where he's at. So he's good about telling me.
Yep. Jason, when we left to go down there, it was 80 degrees here in Bridgeport. We head down there, it's no different. It was really disappointing.
Yeah.
Until it snowed like 2 days later.
Yep. That was a good show, guys. I mean, I like it. Good stuff. You had a little bit of everything, and it's good. I like to see that.
Well, and I tell you, the neat thing for me is we go down there, and it's just like every time we get down there, we just expose somebody else, Yep. And the other thing I will throw in, like when we went with the NHRDA guys in Chandler, that next day after this.
Yeah.
You can't believe the comments of people like, well, we didn't know this was going on down here, or this, I think we're going to have to continue fighting the fight like you talked earlier. But, if we can continue this on, we can't expect immediate success, but you give us a few years to keep pushing. Yeah. I think we can get something going.
How far is this from Vegas? How far is Willcox from Vegas?
Yeah, it'd be about, I'm guessing right at 500, 450 to 500.
Because we need to put a 2 or 3 week little run together for everybody, Greg and Rod, to really make it worthwhile. You know what I mean? To come out. So.
Well, and that's something that we're working on with Rod too, even with his Western States. If we can get Willcox a couple days and then maybe have a week off and do a couple more days. One nice thing is there's very reasonable flights. I flew home from out of Tucson when I left my sled down there, and it was $200. Yeah. So, if we could get some people that could, that's going to be tough to get very many diesel supers down there, but,
if Esden Lane's going, though, I don't know if there's enough Crown Royal down in Arizona for Esden Lane. We'll have to find out.
We'll find it. We'll bring it with us if we have to. But no, what we're talking about is it could be something that could be kind of a little bit of a vacation pull that you could hook 2 days. People could go home and go back to work, or, you could go see the Grand Canyon. Clarence Correa blew me away. After Phoenix, he wanted to get out of there and get home. And he said that he was literally 5 hours from Los Angeles. And I just didn't expect that from Phoenix,
Yeah.
Actually, we're closer to the guy, to Robbie and Clarence than we are to you, Greg.
Yes.
It's just, but it's Arizona down here and is kind of a never land when it comes to the pulling, but the potential for venues to pull at, and I mean, we were just in Chandler Saturday with Randy's group, and I'm telling you, the crowd that he had there was awesome, I thought. And
it was a very vocal crowd. They were backed up to, if they had a decent grandstand, like one of the pickup, you ever see the goosenecks that they unfold, the professionally built one? They had one of those, and then the rest of it was standing room only, and they were probably from 150 foot on out past almost to 350, solid people.
Nice.
And they had music going and their pickups backed up. I'm telling you, it was a different crowd than what I'm used to seeing, at most pulls, but it was great to see those people. I mean, the first time Dave Todd lit up the light limited super diesel, 1,300 horse, there was a lot of people yelling. And I mean, it was crazy, the response.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, he mentioned that that it's a different crowd at his events versus what we're used to. You know what I mean?
That's good. That's good for us.
It's awesome because it exposes a whole new gang of people,
Yes.
to it. So,
Well, I would safely say that there was probably 95% of the people there that watched the pull at Chandler had no agricultural background at all.
Yep.
Yes,
You, Greg?
correct. Yep, I 100% would agree.
and I think I'm seeing more of that, like in the mini rod class, more of the spark plug classes out here, in the Midwest. They're not all just farmers. So,
Yep.
And I think that's why you see it. So, question for you, Greg, Russ Dostal.
Yep.
Is there going to be two division winners in Heartland or one single points winner?
No, that's what we did last year. Is we kept it split up from my old Heartland group and the Mid America group to where we had points champions that were separate. Because to me, I struggle with having a regional group and having pulls that cover 600 miles. That to me, that's rough to have people stay bought in and continue involved in the points races, traveling that kind of ground.
Yep. No, agree.
So it's like we've ran it really kind of like two separate regions, really.
That's good. Okay, cool.
Now, one nice thing, and we'll continue to push for this, is we're getting more and more of the classes to align in rules, because that is another big issue. And we run into that. Really, Arizona's not the issue, but you go like to California, there's a lot of rules that don't line up with the rest of the country. Super Farm and a couple classes, but their mod classes are all their own homegrown classes. Yep. And it's not that they're bad equipment or bad classes. It's just, if we are going to get people to travel between, that's something that I think we need to keep an eye to.
Yep. And yes, Rod confirmed that, Jason, that Mink's old Econo mod went by Semper Fi. So he threw that in the chat there. Mudcat is watching on YouTube out of Joplin, Missouri. Mr. Kevin Davis is checking in.
There he goes.
I'm behind on comments, guys. I apologize. We got a lot
no worries.
Which is good. But after I get my fair stuff done, we'll be able to help out more. Hey, cool, Kevin. That'd be great.
But I tell you what, and I got Rod in contact with Kevin earlier this year, and it's great to have an asset like that that's used to, what pulling is back east.
My dog got excited there. Sorry, guys. So, Dallas, Todd, Greg, has Jazz drove your mom's big tractor?
Yes. I'm trying to think. My daughter, Jazz, she's driven everything that we have short of my mom's light limited super.
Okay.
So, and I got another kid coming along that's driven, I guess, most everything as well, except for that light limited super.
Old Biddy's a handful. Mom's about the only one can handle. You're about the only ones that can handle it, Greg.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, talking with Rod Crawford, president of Western State Pullers, Greg Lussetto of Heartland, division of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association. Greg and I kind of wanted to talk to Rod tonight because they were just down in Willcox last weekend, and then we're going to talk about the 2023 schedule. Yep. All you Heartland pulling fans, I can't tell you every single pull is going to be live streamed with Heartland this year, but we're going to try to do as many as we can. So you'll go to outlawpulling.tv. Greg and I need to have a separate phone call off the air, which ones we're going to do for sure. But for you fans, you'll go to outlawpulling.tv and they'll be listed right there with the Outlaw hooks as well.
I understand, Jason, and obviously you and I haven't talked about it a lot, but we are hoping that with that platform and what, this equipment that we have, that we can run this, because I know you're going to be 100 other places.
Yep.
But we're hoping we can get up to speed, and my goal is to get every one that we can videotape.
Yeah, I talked to Speed Sport yesterday. They're going to train you guys. So
yes. Well, it's not as easy as it should be for an old guy like me.
I have a lot of anxiety after yesterday. We have a lot to learn, but we have Kaya back from last year, and then Warren Bauer is going to come back and help me some. We have there's 10 or 12 nights where we have to go take 2 teams out to go just for the Outlaws, and that's not even counting your stuff. So
yes, well, and you know what? It's a work in progress, and at our level, I feel like we're going to be one of the first groups to get this done. This is one of the great things about us working with the Outlaw, the Outlaw truck and tractor pullers is this year we're going to have a small video board for advertising, and if we get this live streamed, I mean, this is stuff that is just going to add value to our local group, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, the Heartland division, or the Outlaws, have really given the Heartland division, and under your leadership, Greg, it's been awesome. So thank you, Kurt.
It's a platform. Well, they're giving me a platform to grow my group more, and that's that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, Ron and Kurt have nothing but good things to say about you. When I was with them Monday and Tuesdays. So
and I don't know if you knew this, but the world famous Ron Stone was down in Willcox announcing.
I did know that. Yep, I heard his voice in the video, and then I talked to Ron daily, so he had told me he was heading down that way.
You need to ask him about how cold he got there Friday night.
Jason, I want to. He showed up in his shorts the first night, but he had his jeans on the second night. So,
yeah.
But I want to personally thank Ron for what he did for us. He taught me. He's fantastic at what he does with the announcing, and he was a great benefit to our pool this time. I have to say it.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. Very good at what he does. Good stuff. I found a YouTube video from 2020 from Willcox. I don't know if this is the same facility you're in today, but I'm
did
just
you
playing
notice
it.
A scrappy sighting in
No,
the background?
no.
Yeah, I did.
This was in the arena. This pull was put on by Arizona Truck and Tractor Pulling, the group that kind of responsible for getting started. And Willcox started out as antiques, and then we moved into modifieds, and everything's just been progressing down here slowly, and we're growing, and hopefully we're getting better. But this was a fantastic pull this year, that 2020 year. We had a lot of equipment there and some really nice equipment. Doug Meisinger was there with Scrappy. We just wish that was a great pull that Arizona Truck and Tractor Pulling put on that year.
Yeah, I saw the Western State Puller logo on the sled, so I realized that was your sled. So
yeah, that was the first year we had our sled, and we were working in conjunction with them on that pull. And Arizona Truck and Tractor Pullers owners has chosen to retire, and so I guess we're kind of the game in town now. So
going to continue on with what they started.
Yep. Trish Markham Jones says Outlaw Pulling-Heartland Division, Whistle Pig, Saratoga, Wyoming. I have no idea what that means, Lussetto.
Well, Jason, I tell you what, I've went a lot of places and looked at a lot of stuff, and the Saratoga, Wyoming is southwest of Laramie, Wyoming.
Okay.
And this, the owner of the Whistle Pig or Whistling Pig, whatever that was, there is looking at. He does a mud bog, and he talked about trying to do a pull right there on the grounds of where the bar is, which potentially sounds like it could be a lot of fun. But it just right now, believe it or not, our schedule is so dang full that we are struggling. We just don't have many weekends.
Yep. There's not enough Fridays and Saturdays for those 90 days.
and we're getting there even in Heartland, which is kind of hard for me to imagine.
No, that's a great thing.
Yes.
That is a great thing. Love it. I love seeing all the people filming with their video, with their phones. That makes me smile. Yeah. Because I know that's going on TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's good for the sport of pulling. So
yes.
I love it. I got about 5 minutes left, guys, with Rod and Greg. We're not going to get into the schedule tonight. I don't think, Lussetto, we can do it next week.
let's do that next week. And, I guess I may just touch on a couple things. Right now, we've got 19 hooks scheduled for this year.
Okay.
3 or 4 new venues. One thing I'm super excited about is Heartland has predominantly been Western Nebraska. And if you look at the other end of it, we're pretty much just Eastern Nebraska. But we're actually filling in 2 or 3 pulls in Central Nebraska. So hopefully we can get that back, because Central Nebraska used to have a bunch of great pulls. And hopefully we can kind of get that back awake and alive and breathing again.
No, that's good to hear. That is good to hear. I think the more, like to Rod's point, starting out early, just the more you talk about it, and it's just going to take time. It's nothing good happens fast, and you just got to keep plugging away at it. So,
no, for sure.
Rod, what's your biggest takeaway from Willcox this past weekend, from you as a promoter and as a president and all that good stuff?
Actually, I think I walked away from this one with a certain amount of gratification, in that I felt we actually put on what I would classify as a professional quality pull.
Good.
The last October we struggled, and we've struggled in the past, and with track conditions and everything. And this time, and I would solicit a lot of input from people that were there, that watched the videos and stuff. My goal is to be professional and put on quality pulls, both not only for the spectators, but my personal creed is to take care of my pullers first, and make sure that they're treated right and as fairly as possible. Without pullers, you don't have a show. Without sponsors, you don't have a show. And without spectators, you don't have a show. So they're all very important. But I guess mission is to make sure that my pullers are taken care of first.
Yep.
But I did walk away feeling that we did put on a quality professional show. No, it's not at the level of Outlaw or NTPA or PPL, but for where we're at in our organization, I think we did well.
Yeah, and don't compare yourself to people that you're not either. Know who you are, where you are in life, and just do the best you can with what you got and make it great. And that's good. There's been a lot of comments, Rod, like this, from Dan Christensen. Rod is a class act and treat all of us pullers great. Multiple people said that in the comments tonight during the show. So,
well, and I appreciate that from everybody. That makes all my effort worthwhile.
Yeah, perfect.
And on my end, I will tell you the one thing that's very important to me is to get the track in that stuff in the sled setting, to get that similar to what, we don't want to drop off from what people are, that go to some of the larger pulls. We want it to be very similar and as good as we can make it.
Yep. Dallas Todd says, great show. Thanks to all you guys. Corey from Pulling, Texas says, thanks, Rod. It's definitely worth the trip from Texas. Thank you, Corey, for having the video. We shared that there at the beginning of the show. So,
yeah. And next time, tell him to not be afraid. I mean, please come in and visit with us. I was busy running around a lot, but if there's anything he ever wants to do as far as putting cameras on the sled or anything, we'd love to help out however we could.
Dwayne Pfister says, Rod, you and Dave are more family than friends. We'll always be there if we can make it. So,
we appreciate it. We really do. Dave and I both, and the rest of our group. We've really developed some tremendous relationships with people over this, and we want to expand it and make it better.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So every Wednesday night, 7:00, set your sundials for Greg Lussetto and I. I haven't thought of a name for our show yet. It might just be Live with Lussetto. I'm having a little fun with that, Greg. I haven't. But if anybody's got any good names for the show, let me know. Be fun like that. But our focus is going to be promotion of the Heartland division of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association. I want to put a big spotlight in Heartland to let other associations know that might not be a bad idea to call Kurt Van Beek or Ron Stone and say, what can you guys do for us? And if we can be part of that, when you get to work with Beer Money Pulling Team social media, that's not a bad thing either. So it's all good.
The other thing I'll add, if they ever have any questions, my phone's always on. These other groups, if they'd ever want to talk. And one other thing I'll add, Jason, I've always worked with some of the groups, even out west, several times with we're trying to get the safety rules up, because that's one thing that we do fall down on as we head out into these other areas, to try to get the SFI stuff and try to get them up to our level. Like, I'm going to tell you, the one thing that drives me crazy is I see people not driving without gloves all over the place. I don't know if they don't like their hands or what the problem is, but we want to see them do it proper. Yeah,
gloves and pants seem to come last. I've always noticed.
So gloves are the last. I'll guarantee you.
Well, hell, I mean, this last summer was the first summer I put my shield. I made sure my visor was down every single time, and that's something I've never done in the past. And I pick on Grand National guys about that. And
go look at Bob Barbie's video from about 4 or 5 years ago if you don't need any proof.
Yep,
he couldn't have had any eyelashes left.
No, it's a quick trip if you know what I'm saying. So
yes.
Rod, thank you for what you're doing in Arizona. Please continue to work with Greg. For those of you that want to help Rod, get a hold of him. Contact Greg with Heartland. And let's just keep working together, keep sharing stories, keep sharing thoughts, stay positive, and keep growing the sport, because that's what we're doing. I mean, we sure aren't hurting anything by talking like this and showing people this side of the business. So on the human side of the business, I think it's important. So
Jason, exciting
I really
thing for
appreciate
me.
the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to be on with you and Greg, and hopefully we can do it some more, and we'll try to keep everybody up to speed on what we got going down here in Arizona in Neverland. So
no, it's all good. It's all good. Greg, one more thing. Sorry.
One thing I'm excited about is, everybody focuses pulling on the Ohio's, the Illinois, the Iowas, but look what's going on in Florida. Irregardless of the banner they're flying, Florida looks like it's growing.
It is.
Texas has some strong pulling going on. California, they've got some different factions, but stuff's going on there. Washington State, there's stuff going on. There's people interested in Montana. There's other stuff out there, and it's
it's starting to happen.
Keep pushing.
Yep.
Yes,
it's starting to happen. So COVID put a dent in it. We all know that, but it's starting to claw our way back out of it a little bit. So
yes.
Rod, Greg, have a great night. Lussetto, I'll be in touch with you this week, but plan on every Wednesday night at 7. Okay, buddy?
Deal. All right. Thank you, Jason.
Right. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.